Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Daily Recap, where we give you a recap of all of the hot topics that we covered that day. You can catch them in their long format and also catch it fully streaming for free on Apple Podcasts. Y'all know that every like 6 months, Stephen A. Smith decides to jump out the window and pull off another grimy antic, usually in the direction of Max Kellerman. Now, y'all know how that show ended. We were all shocked by it a few years ago. We covered it extensively on our channel. And then after, Max Kellerman got forcibly removed from First Take, he then ultimately got a show called Just In, This Just In or something like that. And then after that, he got let go by the network. And Stephen A. Smith essentially went on like a victory lap tour, man. He was going to different shows. I think like Power 105 or Hot 97, one of those shows. I think it was Power 105. And then he went on the Joe Budden podcast, just basically trashing Max Kellerman every stop he went. And that's how me and Marcellus Wiley got cool, because I was defending Max. And Marcellus Wiley was calling out a lot of the nonsense that Stephen A. Smith was spewing in the direction of Max Kellerman. So this morning here, I was going through the internet, and one of our followers, who's actually a very loyal follower to the channel, sent me a video from the Instagram page called Andre's OG Ward, right? I think that's what it's called, Andre's OG Ward. And it was a clip that was published about 15 to 16 hours ago as we're producing this show. And it says, Stephen A. Smith gives his take on why the business relationship didn't work out long-term with Max Kellerman. So one of our viewers sends this to me. He goes, watch this. Well, take a look at this video, because it seems like Stephen A. Smith is throwing Max Kellerman under the bus again. It's like, this guy can't even help himself. And he said people were absolutely destroying him in the comment section. So I click on the video to hear it for myself. And of course, you got Stephen A. Smith doing it again, man. So what we want to do now is I want to play exactly what Stephen A. Smith had to say on this show about his former partner, Max Kellerman, and then want to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to Stephen A. Smith here.
I felt like about 2 years in, I didn't think it was going to work long term. I was like Stephen A. against the world.
You're at the helm. This is your show.
That's right.
In steps Max Kellerman.
Yes, I needed a partner. They were looking for somebody to replace Skip for 5 days a week, and I knew that his personality was different than that of Skip Bayless, but obviously he's a brilliant brother.
It was working until it wasn't. And you said pretty early on, you started noticing, I got my approach. I'm straight to the point. I'm unapologetic about it. Max has a slightly different approach, but you felt like it wasn't going to work long before then.
I felt like about 2 years in, I didn't think it was going to work long term. I didn't have regrets about bringing him on board. You know that as time was evolving and you saw the other shows and you saw the talent, people clamoring for a point of view mattered. They're looking for conflict and confrontation.
It's a debate show.
That's right. It's a debate show. And it got to a point where that's not what folks were getting. And so you see people opening their mouths and talking about, it was Stephen A. wanted this or whatever. It's not about what I want. It's about what the audience wants. So what it was saying was, we together didn't work. Now, maybe it was a byproduct of what we had trained the audience to be accustomed to with me and Skip.
I'll put my salary on it.
I swear I wish this some water, but I throw this at how could what?
Just donate it to charity. You know why?
$8.5 million? And the fact that that wasn't there, okay, is something they lamented. My point is, that's what they lamented.
It's not personal.
It's not personal.
Never been
It's not personal. They didn't say me, him, or whatever. They said us. So what I was saying was, okay, they said that in year 2, and 3, and 4, and now here we are in year 5. What y'all gonna do about it? I was willing to come off First Take and do other things, and obviously they didn't want that, and so they made the decision that they made. I had to make it work, or else. I was like Stephen A. against the world.
So you heard what Stephen A. Smith had to say. What are my thoughts on this? Stephen A. Smith will say, what do you guys want from me? They asked me a question, so I answered. This is true. They did ask you a question, but how you choose to respond to it is another thing. Stephen A. Smith could have literally said, I no longer work with Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman is now doing something, I think, with Dana White or HBO Sports or something like that. He's on to doing great things. I wish Max Kellerman the best. I have nothing negative to say about the guy anymore. And I think that what I had to say about our fallout on First Take has been documented, well documented. And I don't want to rehash this again because I just don't feel like it's something that I need to be doing right now. Period. End of story. But instead, Stephen A. Smith decides to opt for the latter and just goes on there and starts trashing Max. There's no way you saying what you said will make Max look good, because you are essentially saying that Max, for whatever reason, wasn't getting enough traction or motion for him to stay on the show. Period. End of story. That's all it was. Let me go through some of the comments because I said I was going to read. He said, one guy says, everyone knows Max Kellerman was the real talent on the show. Another guy says, I don't give a F what nobody says. I like Max Kellerman on First Take. Another guy says, Max was great on there. Another guy says, Max was and is awesome. I remember a couple of decades back, he predominantly covered boxing. The passion he had/has for boxing was so evident. It made me a bigger fan of him. Another guy said he stopped liking Max when black people started liking Max more. And then another guy says, nah, Max was tearing Stephen A. Smith a new one on them debates. And when he started to get invited to cookouts, you got him up out of there. And people just kept on roasting him. People are saying that the reason Stephen A. Smith really didn't want to work with Max Kellerman was because of that situation that occurred on the show with Terrell Owens. That was the straw that broke the camel's back for them. And I'm like, you may have a point. But to me, the thing is, it's like, yo, bro, man, you could have just avoided this question altogether. But to go through it again and talk about how Max was like, yo, come on, man. Like, yo, you got to stop with this, man. You got to stop with this. Like, enough is enough, man. Y'all know we recently were on break. And I was having a good old time, right? I was relaxing. I didn't check our channel for like 5-6 days. That's the longest I've ever gone while I didn't check the channel, right? But I was on YouTube and I was seeing some of the things that were being said out there. But apparently there was this audio that went viral of former NBA great, top 75, former NBA legend, former NBA player, John Stockton, calling out LeBron James for essentially constantly trying to build super teams in order to win championships. And while he was doing that, he was also praising Michael Jordan because Michael Jordan stayed in Chicago and figured out a way to win titles. And he was calling him out. And a lot of people reacted to this story. And I said to myself, I said, okay, well, if I remember when I get back, if I have time or whatever it is, then we're going to talk about this story. So I just decided today, I said, okay, well, this would be a good time to talk about it. So I was looking for the sound this morning of this, what he had to say. And I ultimately ended up finding the sound to front of the channel, the basketball show. He actually touched on this already, and he did a show about it that did, frankly, very, very well. So what we want to do is want to play exactly what John Stockton had to say, his comments about LeBron, and then we're gonna come back and then react to what he had to say. Take a listen to John Stockton here.
Thing with LeBron, I love LeBron. I'm a big Cavs fan. I've liked him and followed him for most of his career. One thing that I think people don't talk about is that when he goes to these organizations, he goes there and of course they're in win now mode, but these organizations exhaust all their resources for years to come. And then when he wins, everyone says, oh my God, LeBron's the best. Well, then he leaves and those teams are terrible and they have no capital. They have no draft capital. They have no assets whatsoever. And then they're in the doldrums of the NBA for 4 or 5 years. And they say, oh, see, look what happens. You know, when LeBron leaves, they're terrible. Obviously, he's a great player. But when you get to influence the personnel decisions for some of these teams, I feel like it's hurting the NBA. And I just want to get your opinion on that.
Yeah, I'm not living it every day.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what it's like to sit in that front office and have things dictating to you like a player. I mean, it appears that LeBron is. I don't know for sure that he is, but it appears so. I think it'd be maddening as a teammate to know that you could be expendable for one of his guys that he thinks he needs to play with. The iffiness it causes with the team, the iffiness it causes upstairs. I don't like it either. I mean, I like kind of brag on Michael Jordan here a little bit, and I think we were a similar ilk with the Jazz. Is I like where guys just tighten their belt up and say, you know what, let's go to work. We just got to get better. Yeah. We got to play harder. We got to play smarter instead of just, where's the grass greener? I'm going to go there and win a championship. Yep. I think it devalues that. You're not climbing the mountain. You're taking a helicopter to the top.
Totally agree.
So again, I'm not a fan of it.
So you heard what he had to say, right? John Stockton isn't a fan of the fact that LeBron James tried to build super teams, or not tried to built super teams throughout the course of his career to win NBA championships. And I think, look, LeBron building all of these super teams, LeBron running from location to location to Miami, then back to Cleveland, then to LA, I just think it makes what Jordan did more impressive. LeBron right now is essentially at the end of his career. And is at this point we begin to figure out, well, where did LeBron build his legacy after all? Dwayne Wade, we can say he built his legacy in Miami. Dirk built his legacy in Dallas. Kobe built his legacy in LA. But LeBron didn't really build his legacy anywhere because he started off as a Cav. He left to Miami, but he only stayed for 4 years. He helped win a championship, but that's D Wade's town. Then he went back to Cleveland for a few years. He won a championship, but then he left. Then he went to LA for 7 going on 8 years, but they don't really want him there. So now when we look at it, it's like, okay, well, what franchise did you build up? Because you can't say it was the Heat because they'd already won a championship. During your first stint in Cleveland, although you made it to the finals, you could never win anything. You came back and you had Kyrie and those guys. You won a championship. You tried to win some more. It didn't work out. Then ultimately you left again. So where do you call home? But in the case of Michael Jordan, not only did he stay and find a way to figure it out and make his teammates better by holding them accountable, Jordan created arguably the most memorable sports dynasty ever in the Chicago Bulls. He spearheaded that. Prior to Jordan getting there, the Chicago Bulls were the laughing stock of the NBA. The laughing stock. They didn't even have any titles. LeBron couldn't say that about Miami. He couldn't say that about Cleveland. I don't know if they had a championship before. I'm sure they did have one, probably. I don't know. And he definitely couldn't say that about LA. So Jordan staying in that market and turning Chicago to a sports city. Obviously, they have the Red Sox and all of that, but you understand what the impact that Michael Jordan had. It just amplifies his career and his accomplishments because the guy built a dynasty. When they got there, remember what they were making jokes? Oh, these guys were on drugs and all that. That's where Jordan came to. When LeBron got to Miami, bro, they had already won championships. They already had Pat Riley. They already had D Wade. They already had a system there. Now, Cleveland, not so much. But when he got to LA, they already had the history and all of that. But Jordan, when he got there, there was nothing. People like to say, oh, you know, LeBron James never had an opportunity. He never had an opportunity to play with Phil Jackson. Michael Jordan got to play with Phil Jackson, but LeBron never had how many championships did Phil Jackson have before he started coaching Michael Jordan? What was the NBA team Phil Jackson was coaching before he coached Michael Jordan? Oh, that's right. He was coaching no team. He was an assistant coach. You remember that? You remember how the triangle was formulated when him and Tex Winter became close? He was an assistant head coach. But if you leave it to these dweebs and these twerking ass LeBron fans who be throwing jars of honey at each other and they catch it with mitts, they'll make it seem like Phil Jackson had 10 rings or 5 rings before LeBron he ever started coaching Michael Jordan. He had no rings. They built the dynasty together, which made it even more impressive. When Jordan started playing with Pippen, Pippen developed into an all-star. When LeBron got to Miami, he was already playing with a finals MVP, a player that led the league in scoring the year prior. When he got to Cleveland, he was playing with one of the most outstanding young stars in the NBA in Kyrie Irving, and playing with a guy in Kevin Love, who prior to joining the Cavs had a 26 and 15, 12 season, whatever it was. What are we talking about here? Then he came to LA. Then he was playing with another Anthony Davis. Like, what are we talking about? So this is what John Stockton is talking about. That he took the helicopter, and it's true. And it's true. Even his fans know this. But now it's just commonplace. That's why they were up there hollering and screaming and slapping each other with sticks of honey. So, oh man, LeBron, just go down there to Dallas, man. Go down there to Dallas. They don't even hide it no more. Go down there to Dallas, man. They got a squad over there. Let's go. Let's go do it over there too. So that's what he's saying. And I think that what John Stockton is saying, a lot of people already think in the NBA community. So this one, I came across an article that was frankly unexpected. And it was an article that had to do with what's going on at ESPN First Take. And it said this is from The Sun. It says, new look. First Take and Pat McAfee show involved in major broadcasting changes by ESPN just days before NFL season. So the first thought that came to my mind after reading that title, I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Why? Because these are some of the biggest shows on the network. As you guys know, Pat McAfee used to be in an independent space. Then he ended up signing what was, I believe, an $80+ million deal with ESPN, which was a huge deal, where he brought his show to ESPN in the afternoon, and it was a live show, and I think they're allowed to curse on there. I've never seen the Pat McAfee show live on ESPN, but apparently he can curse on there, if I'm not mistaken. And, you know, that was some very, very big news. And then after that, we heard that Stephen A. Smith, rumors were that he wanted to be the highest paid analyst at ESPN, and he wasn't so fond of ESPN giving Pat McAfee this huge deal. And as a matter of fact, given the fact that Pat McAfee was able to garner such a deal from the network is one of the things that really prompted him to start his own network, because he saw, his own podcast, because he saw the kind of money that people were making in podcasting. And some people make a lot of money in podcasting. Let's not get it twisted. A lot don't, but very few out there, those guys do. And so that kind of inspired him to do so. And then ultimately he landed his $100 million deal, which then LeBron James found a way to mess that up after I think he confronted him that day that the deal was announced at the Laker game. So I then began to read through this article, and apparently these guys are not playing around, man. They got some real, they're about to shake things up a lot with these two shows. Okay, so the article then continues on. It says ESPN's live sports on main channel during daytime hours throughout August. It then continues on. ESPN has made sweeping changes to the schedule for the rest of the month and leading into NFL season. The network's decision has ramifications for top studio shows First Take and the Pat McAfee Show. Continues on. First Take will be shorter than usual leading up to NFL season. It then says the Pat McAfee Show may make way for live sports, and it comes with ESPN giving live sports priority on the main channel. ESPN this week showing the Little League Baseball World Series. The action begins at 1 p.m. Eastern time on the main channel Monday through Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday. Friday's telecast is not due to begin until 7 p.m. Eastern time. It also says First Take is on the schedule unaffected this week in the usual 10 a.m. Eastern time until midday Eastern time slot. The Pat McAfee Show, meanwhile, has seen its runtime on the main channel cut. It is usually on from midday Eastern time until 2 p.m. Eastern time after First Take, but Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday shows are only on the main channel for 1 hour. The 1 p.m. Eastern time until 2 p.m. slot is on ESPN2 on those 3 days, but the show is completely off air Thursday and Friday this week. ESPN has filled the void by moving SportsCenter to the main channel. In its place. The network also has the rights to show the U.S. Open in the United States. The competition begins Sunday, the 24th of August, and runs through Sunday, 7th September. And then the article then goes on to say a few other things. It says, and the Pat McAfee Show will be moved to ESPN2 to make way for live tennis. The shows are both due to return to their normal spots in ESPN Together Thursday, September 24th on the 4th. And then it says the NFL season begins that night with the Dallas Cowboys against the Philadelphia Eagles on NBC here. So basically what this report is saying is that these guys are just basically moving these shows around to make space for live sports, which now brings me to something that I want to talk about, which is live sports as it pertains to the NBA. I watch the NBA on, League Pass, right? So I watch it on League Pass. And apparently, watching live games in the United States is a big issue. I didn't understand what people meant because I can just turn on League Pass and I can watch every single game, no matter what, whether it's on ESPN, TNT, whatever. But when I was in the States recently, I discovered that you can't just watch all the games. Matter of fact, my League Pass wasn't even working. And now what the NBA has done is that all of his live games, as you guys know, they have this new $77 million deal that they signed with these various streaming companies and ESPN and others. What they did was they essentially took all of their inventory, right? So they have 82 games, and they said, okay, Amazon, you get 15 games. ESPN, you get 25 games. Those guys, you get these games. And the other streaming platform, Amazon, you get this. And blah, 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 and HBO, whatever. All the companies that signed up. And now what is happening is that if you want to watch any given game on any given night, chances are you may need to be subscribed to either one or two or all of these services. I think another one is Peacock or something like that. And this is creating a problem for people because they're like, wait, I don't want to have 10 subscriptions all over the place, right? So it's surprising to see that ESPN is moving and making all of these changes for live programming, and one of their biggest partners in the NBA, they're essentially shutting out all their fans. So now if you want to watch games, you can't watch it locally. You got to sign up to one of these platforms and all of that. And I think that that's obviously it's not a mistake because it's going to make them money. But I think it's not good for fans when it's very difficult to gain access to this, to these various games. Now, when I move back to the States, ain't no way I'm going to be subscribing to all of that. I mean, I may do it because of work, right? And I might just write it up as a business expense. But I think it's ridiculous for NBA fans to have to sign up to all of these different platforms just to watch games. But this is the way that they are in the NBA. They want to make money. So These LeBron fans, man, they must be stopped. Somebody needs to stop them. Like, we need to throw some sandpaper on them or something for all of this honey that they got. The LeBron fans walk down the street and they be sticking to one another. I mean, it's just absolutely insane. They rub honey on each other's ankles like lotion in the morning. It's insane. They twerk, they holler, they shake, they move. All they do is sit up there and twerk it up on a daily basis. And today is no different. I'm having my lunch. Shout out to Sports and Fitness Rant. And he is reacting to a video. Let me not say he reacting. Son was going off. Okay? Son was going off. And I'm like, yo, what is he going off about right now? So I click on the video because it was like recommended to me. And in the title, the video says something about House of Highlights founder says something that Michael Jordan's 6-0 record is the most overrated stat in sports. And I'm like, what? Like, what is this a thing? So I click on the video to understand what he was talking about, to see if this was a true thing, because I just didn't believe it. But folks, as it turns out, it's a true thing. It's a true thing. Apparently, the founder of House of Highlights, let me see if I can founder. His name is Omar Raja, right? He started House of Highlights, I believe, in 2014 or thereabout, right? In college or something. So let me give you guys the backdrop. Essentially, this guy was holding up his phone, I think in his room or his office or whatever, I don't know where. And he was playing some sound of somebody calling Michael Jordan's record in the finals, which they now have decided to turn into a stat, that It's the most overrated stat in sports because it doesn't give you the full context of Michael Jordan's career. And I'm like, you must be joking. These guys cannot be this pitiful at this point. Folks, I cannot make this stuff up. They are literally this pitiful. So what I want to do is I'm going to play this sound for you. It's only about a minute, I think. I want you guys to listen to it here, and I'm going to come back and react to what they had to say. Take a listen to what these guys had to say here.
My hot take is Michael Jordan's 6-0 finals record is the most overrated stat in sports.
The stat works because it's a clean story. Perfect record, never failed. But it ignores when he did fail. 6-0 in the finals isn't proof he's untouchable. It's proof he lost earlier instead. Jordan played 15 seasons. In 9 of them, he didn't even make the finals. In Wilt's, Magic's, or LeBron's careers, the years they lost in the finals still count as failures on their record. For Jordan, those failures just came in earlier rounds. It also ignores how loaded those Bulls teams were. Even when Jordan first retired, they still had Pippen at his peak, shooters like Kerr, and the same defensive system that strangled teams. The very next season, without their superstar, they won 55 games and nearly made it to the NBA Finals without Jordan, which tells you just how good that team actually was. And even when Jordan returned in 1995, he went nuclear down the stretch. But the Bulls still lost to Orlando. The perfect finals record makes it sound like every year he played, he dominated the league start to finish. In reality, he was human. His teams were elite. The 6-0 narrative just skips the years it didn't work out.
So you heard what he had to say. Now, I want to give you guys the context of this. This particular post was posted 3 days ago, apparently, and it has 28,000 likes. I don't know how many views it has, but, well, let me see. Maybe I can, let's see if we can figure out how many views. If it has 28,000 likes, it must have a ton of views. Let me see. Because usually this kind of nonsense generally goes viral. So let me see. I don't know. I'm assuming it has hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views. I can't find out how many views it has. Maybe 1 million or so, 2 million. Anyway, and people in the comment section, of course, are roasting him. But let's address the points in this video here, bro. These guys are, I've already told you guys that Honey and LeBron fans is like 5 and 6, man. Twerking and LeBron fans are like 5 and 6. They're always together. Logic and these guys are just they're just arch enemies. This person in this video, let me get this straight, is saying that Michael Jordan's 6-0 record in the finals is overrated because it doesn't factor in what Jordan was doing prior to winning finals, or rather going to the finals and winning finals MVP. First of all, whoever said that they don't talk about Michael Jordan's career prior to him going to whoever said that. Nobody ever said that. Nobody. Number one. Number two, people were criticizing Jordan back then, saying that he's a scorer and all this, but he can't win. That's what was happening with Jordan. He was being criticized for not winning the way Bird did, the way Magic did. That's actually what was happening. And before he got to the finals, he was just proving why he was the greatest player that we ever saw play the sport. I don't need to go through his accolades. They speak for themselves. They're just absolutely insane. Beyond gaudy. With the MVPs, the all NBA teams, the all-star, the score. I mean, we don't even need the defensive team. We don't even need to get into it. That's the first thing. But let's get into the larger aspect of this. Are you sure you guys want to talk about losing? Are you sure? Like LeBron, yo, I don't want to believe that they're this dumb, but I'm forced to believe now that these guys may be this dumb. These guys are talking about, oh, what did Michael Jordan do before he won those championships? What did LeBron do before he won a championship? What did he do? You want to talk about losing? Because ultimately what they're trying to say is this. They're trying to say that getting to the finals is just as impressive as winning a championship. That's what they're trying to say. Second place prizes are just as impressive as first place prizes. And then they say, oh, his 6-0 record doesn't take into account the context of his career. But LeBron's 10 finals appearances, take into account the fact that he played in a garbage conference. We already did videos about this, bro. We already did videos. When LeBron played in the East, it was the weakest era in the history of the Eastern Conference. When MJ played in the East, the Eastern Conference had a higher winning percentage than the Western Conference. We already did show. Who don't know this? Apparently these guys don't. These are just a bunch of dopes and dimwits. When Jordan played in the East, the Eastern Conference was stronger than the West. It was the only time it ever happened. The East was stronger than the West. They had a higher winning percentage than Western Conference teams. When LeBron played in the East, they had a lower winning percentage than teams in the... Who don't know this? So you guys up there rubbing your titties and hollering and screaming, talk about, oh man, LeBron got to the final, omitting the fact that the East was ass cheeks, bro. They was buns, booty cheeks. Like, what are we talking about right now? Who don't know this? But these guys feel like, oh my God, we got him now. Oh, we got him now. They did not take into account that we got him now, boys. No, y'all ain't got nothing but a jar of honey stuck to your butt cheeks. That's all y'all got, honey. Who don't know this? These guys are literally trying to make a look. And the thing I gotta say is this. I was in the kitchen earlier. Why don't y'all just let it go? Why are y'all still holding on to this GOAT debate? Why don't y'all just let it go? It's over. Y'all been trying to have this thing be a GOAT debate. Like, son, it's over. It's not a debate. Y'all still, LeBron fan base are the only fan base still trying to make this argument. Everybody else gave up, but y'all still at it. Oh, well, he's still playing. What he's doing don't matter. What he's doing these days is not changing hearts and minds, bro. It's not changing anybody's opinions. You guys are trying to thrust the guy into the GOAT debate that hasn't played defense in 10 years. LeBron hasn't made a defensive team in 10 years. The last time he made an all-NBA defensive team was when he was 30 years old. The last time Jordan made an all-first defensive team, he was 35 years old. And he led the team in the league in scoring that year. And he won the championship. And he won the finals MVP. What are we talking about? Oh, man, you know, it don't really take into account the fact that, the fact that Jordan was what happened all the other 6 years. Let me distill it down for you twerking ass, meat-beating LeBron fans. Jordan played as a Chicago Bull for how many full seasons? Say it with me, boys. How many full seasons? 12, right? He had the third, it was 15, but 12 full seasons. Guys, you're telling me that you jackasses out there are trying to talk about what was Jordan doing all those other years where the guy that was on the Chicago Bulls, 50% of the time he was on the team, he was winning championships. 50% of the time Jordan was on the Bulls, he was winning championships. 50% of the time he was on the Chicago Bulls, he was winning. If Jordan didn't come back to play with the Wizards, he would have played, 13 years? And you're telling me out of the 13 years, he played 12 full seasons. And out of those 12 full seasons, he won 6. That's a 50. That means 50% of the time he was in the NBA, he was winning. Not in the finals, he was winning championships. Because you dudes are trying to turn finals into appearances into winning. Like, oh, he made it to the final. Like your man Stephen A. Smith. He was just on Gil's Arena. You know, yeah. You know that Jerry West, I mean, he would be great, but he went to the finals 9 times and only won 1. But then has LeBron, who went to the finals 10 times and won 4, over Kobe, who went to the finals 7 times and won 5. Make it make sense, bro. They just be up there talking. These dudes just be up there farting. I don't know what they doing. So, dude, man, it's overrated. These dudes are dumb. They mad dumb. They dumb. I don't know. Like, it's just like dumb logic, bro. And they think they got you. Like, oh, yeah, nobody wants to talk about what. We all talk about it. Let's talk about the losing. You dudes don't want to talk about the losing. Y'all don't even want to acknowledge it. It's like losing don't even matter. All that matters is twerking. Who gonna twerk the best? Y'all holding twerk competitions. You got dudes sliding in there in they flip-flops with honey strapped to their waist, like just doing all kind of crazy stuff, bro. Giving high fives. You got high five sparks of honey flickering all over the place. Glitter flying everywhere. Like, knock it off. And they thought they were making a point posting. You really got them there, buddy. You really got them there. Y'all need to knock it off. Knock it off.